Shalom, brothers and sisters. Today I'm going to go over movies and characters that Mighty God AHAYAH, I Am That I Am, YashaYah the MessiYah, who is actually Idris Elba in this dimension, roles that we played during these 6,000 year term. I know many of the movies that are made today, as I mentioned previously, are lives, stolen identity from the fallen angels, the wickedness in this dark world that had chip implanted Judah and Israel and were stealing our memories, our ideals, and dreams through this technology. And many of them, again, made movies without the righteous consent. And once we saw the movies, many of us that were awakened knew that were our characters, even the songs. When Mighty God AHAYAH, aka Idris Elba, and I were in the East, in the garden, I remember him making lots of beats and music and sending it to the West, to America. And I remember like Missy Elliott and Timberland, I submitted some of his music to them to be played. They stole his music and made it their own. So I'm going to talk about a few characters that Mighty God AHAYAH and I were inside the Matrix. Again, our conscious, our spirit is alive, but the flesh was asleep at the time we're waking up. This is the resurrection. So let's start off with Shaka Zulu. Idris Elba was Shaka Zulu. Mighty God AHAYAH, I Am That I Am in the flesh. And Shaka Zulu knew the white man, who was Idris Elba at the time, was the devil. If you watch the movie series Shaka Zulu, you will see Shaka saying many a times, white man is the devil. I was Shaka's mother and the woman that got pregnant by him in that movie series. And I fled when I got pregnant because I knew Shaka was looking for me to kill the baby. Shaka Zulu, a.k.a. Idris Elba, a.k.a. Mighty God AHAYAH, I Am That I Am in the flesh, he found us and killed the baby. He said he didn't want to bring a baby in the world under evil and the evil the tribes were committing. We were unified in our tribes before, and then the tribes just started sinning, and our people started mixing and mingle with the tribe of Dan, which were the white boys, part of Esau's descendant. And that's when a lot of the wars broke out. We were still Indians in our tribe. Shaka Zulu tribe, the Zulus were very, very large. And Mighty God AHAYAH was telling us to go to all these different heathen tribes and take them out. And Shaka's brothers, they started plotting and planning. You saw the movie, to kill him, and they did, and set the place on fire, our camp on fire. And I was the woman that was in love with him, and I died with him in the fire. Again, many stars, the word star backwards spell rat or rats. 1/3 of the stars of heaven, in heaven, drew the tail against Mighty God AHAYAH and fell. Those are the fallen angels down here, again, making all the movies and the music, a lot of the pop-ups, commercials, and they want to be seen. They want to air their abilities. They just want to be seen. And Mighty God AHAYAH is turning his back on it. He's not watching him. So they want to rush and make money. They are very lustful and they don't believe. And so they are marked for death and they're dying off the planet, as I mentioned previously before. So again, let's get into some of the movies that Idris Elba and I were, Mighty God AHAYAH and myself, ChaYah, were, and before Earth in the Garden of Eden. Once again, before I get into that, you cannot make a movie if it had not happened before. Only thing changes are the characters. And the characters may put a spin or a lie here and there just to give it more of a movie, scenario without it obviously being stolen materials, stolen identities. For example, as previously mentioned, the movie Superman, the whole Superman series that started off with Christopher Reeves. He stole Mighty God AHAYAH's story that I mentioned before, when our planet was blown up, our mother and father had gave us a crystal with our enemy's blood samples and everything we needed to store life over. And we did that. We were angels. We got away. We was running, but we were flying. We got away. And also the movie Color Purple with Oprah Winfrey and Whoopi Goldberg. Again, Mighty God AHAYAH and I were in that movie. Whoopi Goldberg played my role, and Danny Glover played Idris Elba, who was my husband at the time, role. And they made these movies without our permission. Another movie Beyonce knows, the movie Obsessed. Beyonce was obsessed with Idris Elba, my husband. Mighty God AHAYAH, I am that I am in the flesh. And she had summoned us to Fantasy Island with Tattoo and Mr. Rourke. Fantasy Island is a real place these wicked people are using to satisfy their lust, summoning our men and our women and our husbands and wives to this place using charming, witchcraft, sorcery, divination, etc. to again satisfy their sinful lust, breaking up a lot of marriages. And in these end times, Sabrina Dowry, aka Satan transformed into a black woman, did the same thing. As I mentioned previously before, I had made a diary of all the times I spent with Mighty God AHAYAH when we were in heaven. And Satan was there on a tree hanging one time. He can transpose into the archangel, the cherub, and then to that big old python looking snake. And he read or saw some of my diary, how I listed, because I spend so much time with Mighty God AHAYAH, I record a lot of things or write them down because there's so much that we do. And again, Satan is a copycat. He wrote a diary. He saw all the things that Mighty God AHAYAH made me feel, how he made me look and stuff, and he wanted that. Satan was very, very jealous because, again, Mighty God AHAYAH wore him around his neck as a snake. And so, again, Sabrina Dowry, a.k.a. Satan, who is Tobias, who is Sebastian, the albino, and I posted pictures of Sabrina Dowry before being injected with melanin and silicone breasts and booties and all that. Sabrina Dowry, who is Satan, has forced his lust on AHAYAH, Mighty God, I am that I am, who is actually Idris Elba in the flesh, in this dimension, to satisfy his lustful homosexual desires. He wrote in his diary long ago, as previously mentioned. That is some low down, dirty, nasty. I'm going to leave it at that, because for a man to have that kind of lust for another man to change his sex in order to have these nasty sexual immoral relations is a sick, twisted motherfucker. And that's what he is. Because Satan did rape Eve, the mother of all living. He is a motherfucker. Additionally, AHAYAH, Mighty God, and I had Adam and let me slow down a bit. Again, additionally, in heaven, Mighty God AHAYAH had Adam and me go throughout the heavens and rebuke, cast out those wicked angels that were causing trouble in heaven, misusing the magic made available to them. They didn't let their abilities mature. They were too quick to make money, too quick to try to take over the kingdom of heaven, to do things in their way without learning the proper way to use the magic and to use the things we needed to live life abundantly. Before the big war, the fairy tales and the magic attached to the fairy tales down here in the pit of hell, or those that were kicked out of heaven. And these are the powers that Mighty God AHAYAH mentioned in the King James Version Bible that we fight against. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but the spirits that fell out of heaven, against the powers, against the principalities, the government, against the thrones and dominions, against spiritual wickedness using magic and science and technology in high places. Let's look at Disney. Disney transpose is Sydney, who is Sidney Poitier and his people. Sydney is a sick, twisted, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to say this. Satan is the author of homosexuality. And all the fallen angels down here, Japheth's descendants, even Ham's descendants, many of them are homosexuals or had their sex change or on the down low. That's similar to somewhat like a pledge these people go through to get into this occult group of Satan, Lucifer, the Luciferians, the Illuminati. Satan and his hosts are bullies. They killing the babies behind our backs, indirectly, using magic, divination, and etc. Other experiences that Idris Elba and I, Minette and Michelle Davis Jackson, had were the couple that had the shoe house in the fairy tale story. We had a shoe house when we came here, and we had our children. We had our children programmed and checked, and we had a flawless system. And the white people were jealous because we were raising our children properly. And the white people came and told us we needed to upgrade our house and we had to get this and get that. And the money that we had saved up for our children, once they made it a certain age and we trained them how to live life outside of our home, they took all that money from us and made, like I said, they pressured us to upgrade to the houses we have today with their lies. And this is, again, an abbreviated version of our life. Adam and me, Eve, who was Idris Elba and I, and mighty God AHAYAH, I am that I am, and ChaYah, life before the Garden of Eden and before Earth. Adam and me, Eve, a.k.a. Idris Elba Adam and me, who are actually Idris Elba and Minette Michelle Davis Jackson, are anointed. And we stand before mighty God AHAYAH, I am that I am, of the heavens and the earth. We are the two olive trees and candlesticks, again, standing before mighty God AHAYAH, I am that I am. And mighty God AHAYAH said not to harm us, not to touch us, that if any man would harm us, that fire proceeded out of our mouth and devour our enemies. And if any man harm us or try to kill us, they must be killed in like manner. So everything, all this witchcraft, sorcery, black magic, divination, spells, curses, and hexes that all these fallen angels and people are doing to us is ricocheting, boomeranging, and backfiring back on them. They reap what they sow. AHAYAH has flipped the script. And all these curses and spells are going back to the originator. So I just briefly wanted to go over some of the things and some of the people, the characters that mighty God AHAYAH and I were in heaven and down here on earth in the pit of hell. Again, we're judging the ungodly, as mentioned in the book of Enoch, those that perished, those that died and had not been judged yet. We're judging now. And again, mighty God AHAYAH is extracting the evil people, all the wicked people that were kicked out of heaven. They're going back to the sun, the sun, the unquenchable lake of fire. So I don't want to make it too long. I'll give you more updates as mighty God AHAYAH give me permission to post some of our experiences, life experience that we had down here in the pit of hell and even on the different dimensions in earth. So it's like I'll mention what about death in another post, but I previously want to say I remember at least 2 or 3 times that I had died, and each time you die, it's like you go down an elevator in earth. Earth has like different floors, maybe, I don't know, 6, 7. I said Earth has 7 shadow copies, but I don't know how many dimensions inside of Earth that Earth has. That's not for man to know right now. But those shadow copies are being deleted, and it's only one Earth, the new Earth Yah has made for us. The new heavens and the new earth is ready, and those we are crossing over when we're dying, falling asleep. We're shedding the flesh. These flesh is these human flesh are like a prison, our punishment for the things we did up in heaven, and now we are leaving the flesh, going back to our spiritual bodies. And again, I want to thank you for listening. I don't want to make it too long. I'll post more stories about mighty God AHAYAH, who he is and who he is to us. And he's a very, very loving father. He loves children and his animals. I haven't seen this much love ever has existed to give up his only begotten son to save us. And so I want to thank you for listening. And again, we'll keep you updated as to the things prophesied that is coming to pass. And again, that's what mighty God AHAYAH said. When he come back the second coming, he's coming with the sword and to fulfill all the prophecies in the New Testament that had not been filled or fulfilled when he left, when he returned to heaven. So I want to thank you for listening. Shalom.